This is the original esport racing game. This is iRacing.
The I-do's have been pledged, the bouquet has been tossed, the cake has been cut, and the newlyweds have left the reception beneath a shower of rice. Now it's time for the couple to get down to business. Such is the case for our series today, as each of the 4 drop races have been accounted for, and now with 4 rounds to go, it's time for the drivers to get down to the business of consummating this championship. From the Origami Pretzel, more commonly known as Suzuka International Racing Course, it's the Global SimRacing Channel's Round 9 coverage of the Advanced Mazda Cup's 2019 Spring Season Championship. And all the strength of field MX-5 action can be seen live as it happens right here on the iRacing Esports Network. Konnichiwa! High up in the press box to bring you our Word's Eye view, Joe Peak, joined by yours truly, Bill Soups on. John Crackers Ambrose is on vacation, so Amjad Yaman has director duties today, armed with cameras provided by Dougie Beard. So what are the specifics before us? With 5 missed races so far this season for Luis Felipe Calderon, despite earning a second win this season last time out at Donington, the Colombian Salsa only sits 7th in the points. Sonny Catch Me If You Can't and maintains the lead, but some mathematicians theorize that Mike the Hamsterdam in 2nd, or the Greek streak, Yannis Mumilidis, is 3rd and has a better position for the title. And the flies in the formulatic ointment are the previous winners, defending champion Robert Hartley, DJ Alessadrini, and Little Bird Sarah Dove. So the story continues today from Suzuka, and here's Joe Peak to tell us a little bit about this place.
Well, this is one of those rare tracks around the world that actually has a crossover. And no, we're not talking about short track figure 8 racing like in the States. Between the Degners and the hairpin, the track actually goes underneath itself, where a bridge later leads you into 130R. But most drivers don't give much thought to that feature, so much as the fact that these 3.5 miles are some of the most technical and challenging in racing. Among the 17 turns are just about every sort of corner you can ask for. The most common phrase you hear when drivers describe this place is a driver's track. Know how to wheel a car and all the little tricks that come with finding speed, and you're likely to be fast here. However, we're racing the MX-5 today, and while all that stuff is still true, this is a circuit that was built for much faster machinery. So as always, that means the Miatas will be heavy on the draft. The question will be, can anyone make enough of a difference in the twisty bits to break that? But to get a better idea of what the car goes through in a lap, let's hop on board with the GSRC lap guide.
All right, we've got Amjad Yaman in the GSRC MX-5, so let's do a lap around Suzuka. The front stretch is going to be a long blast in this car, so the draft may create passing opportunities. But the braking into 1 and 2 will definitely discourage guys trying to enter side by side. You might see a game of chicken into these corners a few times during the race. There's a lot of banking here in turn 2, so you'll really want to use it to carry your speed out towards the S's. But from here on out, your line is going to be critical. Each corner flows into the next, so getting offline will screw up your rhythm and be extra costly to your lap time. It should be single file through here after the first lap. Now, coming out of this last right-hander, you want to hug the right to get a nice launch into the Dunlop curve. If you hit it right, you'll be flat out all the way to Degner 1. Get it wrong, and you'll either have to lift or risk drifting into the dirt on the outside. Now, the Degner corners will be another place where I would not advise trying to enter side by side. It's just a little bit of braking, glance off the curb, and get it straightened for Degner 2. Once again, you've got a heavily cambered corner, so you can take more speed than you'd expect through here. From there, you've got a short time to relax before we hit the hairpin. This little right-hand kink before it can make the braking tricky and setting up a pass even trickier. But it's definitely one of the better passing spots on this very technical circuit. However, the most important part here is setting up your exit, because the blast around the long, gentle turn 12 will be full power the whole way. This is another spot where the draft may offer you an opportunity to close up and get a nose in on your competitor, especially if you're trailing them closely. It's also a bit safer to have a go since there's plenty of runoff around the outside of Spoon. This corner is another one that requires accuracy because it's really a double apexer. If you drift wide after the first part, say goodbye to your hopes of hitting the second apex. And just to add insult to injury, if you did miss it, you've got the backstretch to worry about. Without a good exit, the combination of the draft and the long run means the car behind you is probably going to be looking up the inside. If this happens, hope you've got some large stones, because now we're heading towards 130R. It's just the lightest of braking, hit your marks, and get back on the power through this fearsomely fast bend. But before you know it, you're now setting up for the Casio Triangle. Here is your last good place to try to overtake. It's probably the heaviest braking zone, but with the chicane there can still be some difficulties getting the job done, especially if the other guy is a good defender. Still, the exit's going to be important once again, because now we're dumped back on the pit straight, and you'll want every ounce of oomph the little Mazda engine can give you. As you come across the line, you've finished a lap around Suzuka.
A lap around Suzuka, my idea to demolish the overpass and turn it into an intersection, continues to fall on deaf ears, but that certainly would add some drama to this place. Let me get to some drama of the point standings now. Now keep in mind that these numbers take into account the 4 drop races allowed for in the rules. In other words, it's a driver's best 4 of 8 results. Sonny Kanchan sits 3rd in net points, 288 behind Giannis Mumilidis, but when drops are accounted for, the Aussie tops the standings. 56 point back in the net points and only 80 back in the raw points is Canadian Mike the Hamster Dam. We mentioned Mumilidis dominating the raw points. Whether that 280 point lead is enough for the Greek streak to climb the net points ladder is TBD. Another Maple Leafer is David Payton. And then up a pair of spots in the trail dust of a 6th place finish last time out is the Sheriff Jordy Fike, bumping Big C Clifford Eben off the chart. You know, the best of the best in the iRacing World Championships, as well as many top private leagues like the one you're watching right now, are showcased right here on the iRacing Esports Network. If you haven't done so yet, make sure you subscribe. GSRC is proud to be part of the IESN stable of broadcasters. And IESN is always picking up new viewers, so with them in mind, here's Joe to get everybody up to speed on the event details.
Absolutely. There's those drop weeks that you mentioned up at the top, and we are in round 9 out of 12. Today's race is their sprint format. That's going to be important with how long the laps are around here. We'll talk about that in a little bit. The setups on these cars are open. You can find a little bit of speed out of that, especially at a technical track like this. They also have an incident cap there. You see 17 incidents, and you will be disqualified on the spot. Car will literally disappear, and you won't be able to finish. And they use the official iRacing points to determine the points in the championship. That's also going to be important because it's split today. And Bill, it's split with some very large iRatings out there.
Yes, indeed. This is going to be not the race you want to miss if you had to miss one, because there's a lot of bonus points. Yes, they have drop races, but you wouldn't want to drop this one because there's a lot of points up for grabs. What is the strength of field, Joe? Are you able to tell that?
I don't have that, but I can tell you that Robert Hartley is actually at 9,600 for his iRating, if that gives you any idea. Kanchan's at nearly 8,000 himself. So this is a pretty stacked field. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, there are a lot of Hartley and Kanchan are close to MX-5 specialists. I don't know how much they race in other machines, but man, they are good in this little car. Qualifying laps are coming in. Kanchan and Hartley sit at the top of the chart. Let's take this opportunity, Joe, to look at the weather. That's always plays an important part here in the land of the rising sun.
Yeah, it's a little bit slipperier out there. 97 degrees on the track surface, even though it's a pretty good temperature, air temperature-wise. there is quite a bit of a wind, too. Look at that, 16 miles an hour. That can throw these cars around a little bit. They are kind of susceptible, and especially if that's a headwind on any of these straights. With these so reliant on the draft, that could make it even more powerful. That could mean we could see passing be even easier. So something to watch out for as we watch qualifying finish. And I think we got a few drivers that aren't going to be able to get the second lap in, one of them being Hartley, who actually managed to get the front row in his first lap.
Yeah, all things considered, though, as long as you're probably in the front half of this 14-car field, and we did have a large turnout today at Split. That's why our field is so small. There was a lot of interest, and they went to 2 races, so we only have 15 drivers here today. But this is a draft track. If you're anywhere close to the top half, you'll be in good shape. My goodness, look at the names that are up here. Kanchan, Hartley, Mumilidis is here. Stephen Van Opstel, David Patton. The one name that is missing is Mike Dam, who sits second in the points. We talked about drop races. He has plenty of insurance. He'll have to cash in there. But again, a lot of big points up for grabs here today. This is not the one you want to miss.
Certainly, and you don't want to have a bad race as well, because much like in a couple other series we covered, the official iRacing points are essentially rationed. So even though you're up in a very big strength of field, as looks like qualifying's finished, you don't want to finish towards the latter half.
This time slot very friendly, I think, to the land of the rising sun, as we have 3 drivers here looking for a little home cooking. With that done, I think qualifying's over. Let's go to the grid right now. I'll take the first 8. Sonny Kanchan and Robert Hartley fill up the first row. Row 2 has Stephen Van Opstel flanked by David Payton. Row 3, it is the Greek streak, Jonas Mumilidis, and the bullet train is here. Yasuda Shiraiwa. Marcelo Estubio in the 7th position, and the Sheriff, Jordy Fike, flanking him in 8th. Joe?
Andre Bertoni will start P9 with Derek Holland rounding out your top 10. Then Ivan Garcia got his lap in at the last gasp on his second one. He'll start 11th. Kota Miwa 12th, and Rui Coimbra P13. 2 cars did not get any laps in. Kazuki Matsumura and Ivan DeCunto will start at the tail of this 15-car field. Bill?
Should be a good one today. Kanchan has taken a spot. Robert Hartley also in position. Those guys have raced against each other countless times in this series, in the MX-5 World Tour, and now sometimes they meet on Sundays on the Big C. I never know what it is. I'm going to call it MX-5 Jam. Thank you, Challenge. Thank you. I like the Big C Spectacular, but that's really not what it is. As we take our little drone cam over the field, you see the 15 drivers beneath that Japanese sky with some clouds pushing down on the racetrack. Round number 9 of 12. The drop races are all done. Now they race for real as they close in on the champions. You can hear the engine start to harmonize. You know what to do. Gather at the chicken steak, covering on the cows. The horses are out of the barn. Kanchan cuts in front of Hartley. Hartley takes the car off to the grass as there's some excitement up front right away. Back in 3rd position, Van Opstel in a battle with Payton on the inside. 2 by 2, Joe, through the first corner.
And Hartley's trying to work that outside. Interesting that Kanchan knew immediately to duck down in, because it looks like Hartley nearly had him there. So they're finally going to get sorted out mostly single file as they get to the S's, which is really important in this section.
Mumilidis works very hard not to be left behind as he gets around the bullet train with Yatsuya Shiraiwa up into 5th position. Important to stay with the lead train right now. That goes 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Everybody in it right now.
Yeah, but the technical section is not done yet, because they're coming up to the Degners. It's incredibly tricky to try to get it braked for this first Degner. And then the second one as well really invites you to take it in hard with the banking.
Totally different animal. It's a 25-minute race, no pit stop, so you don't have to worry about negotiating that. It's all about playing chess right now. They head down to the hairpin for the first time. Let's see if anyone pokes their nose in and tries to make a pass. No reason to force it here, because the passes is so easy in the draft.
And we're going to see a little bit of that on the run up to Spoon. This is a pretty decent straight, and Hartley knows it. He's actually already poking his nose out, but it's very little braking on your way into Spoon, so you want to be fully alongside someone if you're really going to attempt something.
Hartley takes a peek. Also, Fike was looking to get a spot as well, but does not. There's a bit of a gap between 7th and 8th. Marcelo Estubio back there in 7th, opening up about a 5 or 6 car length lead on Jordy Fike. The Sheriff doing his very best to stay with the posse in front of him.
Ooh, Hartley's got a very good run. And he's going to lift, though. He's not going to go for it, so he's going to wait it out.
Robert, no pit stop today. No reason to save fuel. But to sit back there and wait. He has to be careful. There is an incident cap, and we've seen Bob Hartley get in trouble with people bump drafting him sometimes. As I say, there's a little bump, and as they work through the Casio triangle, I think Shiraiwa got into the back of Mumalides, but that's okay. They continue.
Yeah, both of them got each other. I think Stephen Van Opstal also was at the front of that little accordion that came together. But everybody made it cleanly through the first lap. Only driver that's lost touch is Rui Coimbra. Otherwise, it's essentially a 14-car train. Look at that.
It is indeed. In fifth position is Mumalides and Shiraiwa. If you ever need drivers with nicknames, here you go. It's the Greek streak ahead of the bullet train.
Now, as I say that, I am seeing a little bit of a gap between Hartley and Payton developing from second to third, which is not good news for Payton. Actually, not good news for the entire field because those two are so fast. They could easily scamper away.
And Opstra will not tolerate this. Payton is quick. He sits in the top 5 in points, but we really haven't seen him race up front. He gets his points by simply staying out of trouble and getting good finishes right now. Got to be careful. The draft is big, though, and now we'll see it play. The interval, 0.8 of a second. We'll see if the Canadian can pull up on the back of Hart.
And critically, it's been happening here through all the little twisty bits I keep talking about. So he's really got to hustle to try and close it enough that maybe he can start to reel them back in once they get to the long straights. You start to get that at about less than 2 seconds back when you can finally start to feel it.
A pass side by side. Can we take a look at Derek Holland in 11th? He's making a little move here, a little battle going on. Matsumura in the mix as well, and there is Kotomiwa also. 3 cars fighting for 11th position as they lose touch with Ivan Garcia.
Going to sort it out before a spoon. And part of the reason might be that we see so many Japanese drivers here today is that there are some kind of local tricks that you learn. Drivers who've driven here a lot kind of find little tiny bits of speed here and there that others might not be aware of. So it does make a difference.
Look at those racing right there. I'll tell you right now, Hartley and Kanchan are on the same page as Hartley is just pushing Kanchan as he can to try to make this a 2-car battle and run away from David Payton. Payton doing a good job of sticking with him.
Got a little bit of wheel spin coming out of the Casio triangle, though, and that's going to hurt him. He's dropping back to what looks like 0.8 now. This is a big danger zone because they're coming up to the S's, and it looks like Payton's under attack from Van Opstal. He's going to let him have it.
He does. He does not want to fight. He's worried about hanging on. Maybe David's thinking, okay, you go ahead and see if you can run these guys down. The gap between Hartley and Van Opstal, 0.6 of a second. Van Opstal, another driver with a ton of MX-5 experience, especially in the MWT. He's raced with Hartley and Kanchan a lot.
He's looking pretty good so far. He's keeping it about 0.6 behind Hartley, now 0.5 of a second, so he's gaining. I think you're right. It looks like that Payton was the cork in the bottle.
We talk about hard chargers. There are really not many out there, as everyone races within one position of where they gridded right now, as it's a case of the Pied Piper, Sonny Kanchan, I guess, leading the snakes into the ocean. Was it snakes or rats? I'm not sure what the Pied Piper led, but my apologies for rats. Associating the field with rats. Let's call them mice. Okay, go ahead, Joe.
Anyways, I was going to say, part of the reason that you're seeing them not really doing too much in the way of pass attempts is, honestly, it's so easy to make mistakes around here that if you're slightly offline anywhere, it could cost you multiple tenths. You got to be so picture perfect around this track. I think everybody's kind of waiting for a mistake from the car ahead instead of trying to make a dive and losing out and costing both of you touch with the person ahead of you.
I feel sorry for poor Rui Coimbra back in 15th position. He's got an iRacing of 32.29 coming into this race, and the field's just pulling away from him.
In fact, I think, no, he doesn't have the lowest one. That is, it looks like Derek Holland.
Yeah.
at a 3,042. He's sitting in 12th.
Oh my goodness, these guys are lucky. Of course, it is split, and they split based on iRating, so those points matter.
The Casio triangle once again. I get the feeling that Hartley's setting Canchin up for the end of this race.
Yep. They've opened up an 0.8 of a second lead now over Van Ostrel. And again, bump draft. Now Hartley's probably counting his incident points here. He gets to burn 17 as he just tries to push Canchin along.
Canchin might not necessarily want those.
Yeah.
So.
They work either way, don't they? Whether it's from the front or from the back. Little bumping through the Casio triangle between Fike and Bertoni. They set that out.
In fact, that caused quite a bit of a gap because Fike has lost out to Eusebio, and then Bertoni's dropping off of Fike as well.
My guess is that second split has a lot of drivers who haven't been in a second split in a long time with the cutoff point at 31.
Depends on what kind of racing they do, I suppose. You get into the skippies, you could be fifth split. So.
There you go. There you go. Well, Van Opstrel's done his job. He's back up on the back of Hartley. Try as Hartley and Canchin might to leave the field behind. That did not work. Payton hangs in there as well as Mumalides.
Yeah, he's the tail of the train, and I think Shiraiwa is starting to fall off of him. In fact, Eusebio's caught him, so maybe they could work together. That could be a boon sometimes when you get caught by a car behind. Because as we've seen, two cars are faster than one.
Marcello has been very competitive racing up front this season with the big boys. Back there in 7th right now.
Bullet Train's not giving up on this quite yet. He's kept it within about 0.8 of a second, and this run up the backstretch towards 130R will help.
That said, I do believe the Sheriff, Jordy Fike, as we ride on board with Eusebio right now, looking up at Shiraiwa. Fike has lost touch. He's about almost 2 seconds behind Eusebio as the front 7 work through the Casio triangle now. Fike just getting there.
Ooh, a little action behind them. Matsumoto is ahead of Bertoni and Garcia, who came in side by side into the triangle, and Andre is going to be the one that comes out on top.
And you wanted a hard charger. There you have it. It's Matsumura. Started in 14th, has picked up 5 positions.
You're going to be disappointed, Bill. I don't believe he put a lap time in.
Oh, that doesn't count. That's right. That does not qualify.
He and DeCunto are the only two that didn't get lap times.
Nevertheless, I think he does have the pace to get to Fike. Fike's got to keep going as he races in 8th position.
Yeah, and with nobody to play with right now, Fike is in trouble because he doesn't have a drafting partner. He's got to rely on his speed alone. And that could still pull him away. Ooh, Hartley, as we ride on board, going a little wide, though. And that cost him to Canchin about half a second.
We look at that lead group. The question is, can Shiraiwa get to the back of Mumalides? And I think he's going to be able to get back up there.
I mean, he's been hovering around there. He's very close. It'll depend on whether or not he's consistent enough to keep plugging away at this and try to gain a 10th or 2 at a time.
Yeah, 7/10 back. Doesn't get the best drive out of the hairpin.
A little damage on the front of Mumalides' car, though. That was, I think, from the Casio Triangle incident that we covered.
Yeah. Mumalides in that fluorescent car there. Well, I'm going to take a guess. It's yellow.
Yeah.
Black. All right.
Yellow and black, yeah.
All right.
It's kind of a lime yellow.
Let's look at 6. Here it comes. This is Eusebio now is tired of behind the bullet train trying to get there. Yasuda's not going to let that happen. They probably lost a little bit of time. The Japanese driver hangs on. Loses a little bit to the back of Mumalides, though.
Up in front of them, I'm noticing that we're getting a little bit of a gap between Peyton and Van Opstal now. Remember, Peyton lacked pace earlier, and it seems that that's returned.
Oh, and here comes, Mumalides. I think he's reading your mind, Joe, and I think it's time for the Greek streak. Originally from Greece, races out of Germany right now, and I think he's going to try to make this pass.
And he's got it. Done. Peyton obviously facilitating that a little bit. Yeah, what happened there was you saw Mumalides go a little bit wide. That's because he kept his foot in it. If he didn't care about if he did care about the incident points, he probably would have lifted to try to stay on track. But he went all the way out into the AstroTurf because he knew that extra little bit of momentum, even though it gives him an incident point, that allowed him essentially to try to use that draft and get by on that straightaway. And it's kind of a case of just bite the bullet, take the incident point, just so that you can try and run down the top three.
So that's the second driver that Peyton has let through easily. Let Van Opstal go by into one, then he let Mumalides did the same thing. But this is what Peyton does. He just finishes and he gets good points. That's how he's sitting well up in the standings right now. So the question is, can Van Opstal run away from Mumalides? I do not think so.
Noticing that Kazuki is starting to catch up to Fike. He's down to 9/10. I think the next long straight, you're going to see him reeling him in.
And honestly, with the pace of Matsumura, this may not be the worst thing that could happen to Fike to let him by. There's a chance that Kazuki could maybe run up and get to the back of Isubio and maybe turn this from a 7-car battle into a 9-car battle. We don't know how fast Matsumura really is because he wasn't able to put in a qualifying time.
Apparently pretty fast, the way that he's climbed through the field.
iRating, if that means anything, of over 5,000 for Matsumura.
Oh, and there was a mistake in Spoon, Jordy, unfortunately, losing gobs of time, unless he did that intentionally.
Again, he might be listening to the broadcast. He might be thinking what I just said. Let's see if we can follow him.
Yeah, my guess before I see this is that he simply lost the rear of the car. Very easy to do in Spoon, the way you're coming in so hot to the first half of it. Let's watch from on board. That'll give us a better idea. Yep, that's exactly what happened. You can see him have to save it. Counter steering loses you tons of time.
Let's look at Bertoni. Happens as I gave out that Bertoni and Garcia get together in the Casio Triangle. Just a little bit of an accident. We'll come back live and see if we can get that one. Nope. We got it. A little bit of incident. They did lose a position, I think, to the driver that got around him. Maybe Holland.
Yep, that was Holland moving up to 10th now. He's probably pretty happy about that.
There you see it from above.
Yeah, that was Bertoni to the inside in the lighter car with the stripe down the middle. Just unfortunately wasn't totally clear, but hard to really put blame on one driver for that.
And by the time we come back live, Bertoni's already got Holland back, so he's back up into 10th. Let's look at 8th position. Well, it didn't take long. Matsui, he got around Fike, and now he's starting to run down. Let's give you this gap, 2.7 seconds. I'm talking about Matsumura to Isubio.
Yeah, but the bad news for them is that Shiota Iwa has lost ground. It is 1.3 seconds now. Right. Remember, he was 0.8 behind. So even if they catch the group they're coming up to, they then got to leapfrog them and get to the top 5.
You can see those top 5 just to screen right now. They're going underneath you here, and let's talk who they are again. Sonny Kanchan, Robert Hartley, the defending champion, Stephen Van Opstal, Jonas Mumalides, and hanging in there, David Payton.
Boy, we still got more side-by-side racing towards the back. It looks like Garcia and Holland trying to sort this out for 10th. I think Holland's going to get it as he's fully passed now that they've come up to the Spoon curve.
That really is the fun battle. Bertoni in that mix as well. Bertoni trying to drive away, going way offline behind them of Ivan
De
Cunto, yep. And now there's a battle side by side with Holland up in front, Holland and Garcia.
They're just
which guy weighs more is the question here.
They're just having fun at this point, honestly, because they know they've lost touch with any hope of getting the group up front. So they're just kind of swapping around, just making it an enjoyable race for each of them, maybe for the fans too. Sometimes I've been surprised that drivers lately have told us they just want to put on a good show for the fans. Oh, and who was that? That was Garcia. So he's going to get a slowdown penalty, even though he's ahead of everyone. He's going to have to hand this back, I would think anyways. Maybe not. Oh boy.
Right now,
this is not looking good.
This is a pinata full of bees right now. Make it 4 wide. Come on, get in there, baby.
Just about. Oh, who's going to come out on top? It looks like Bertoni manages to be the bravest of the 4. Told you they were giving a show, and it's going south.
The Kunto goes off to the inside, then he tries to gather it up, and he catches the alfalfa on the left side of the track. Brings it back on. No worries. Nobody behind him. He comes out in 14th. Well, his fun is over.
That group is still together. It's just now it's being led by Bertoni. Holland, Garcia, and Miwa are the ones giving chase.
As so often the case, the entertainment is provided in the mid part of the races from the guys mid-pack back, because the drivers all front are just staying where they are until it's time to go racing for real, which will be pretty soon, as we only have just a tick under 7 minutes to go. Man, these 25-minute races are fast.
Yeah, and the laps are so long here. We're only going to get about 10 or 11 of them in.
Let's look at 6th position. Here comes Asubio, working on Shiraiwa. They head down, and I think he's going to get it through Spoon.
This is going to be very costly time-wise, though. Spoon is very much single file if you want to get any sort of speed through there. So they're not only going to lose touch to Peyton up ahead of them in 5th, but they're allowing Matsumura to try to run them down as they're going to go side by side again up to 130R.
30R not quite as scary in this car. Let's see if they can go too wide through here.
I wouldn't recommend it.
They work it out.
It's still kind of scary because you do actually need a little bit of lift, especially in these slippery conditions in this car. If you keep your foot in it, sometimes you can understeer off into that AstroTurf. You hit that AstroTurf wrong, Bill, it can spin your car off to the inside, and you're done.
Coming at you, love this shot. You can see the front 5, then the next 2 we were watching, and then as they were having fun, here comes the driver back in 8th position. As Slick is too wide as they go into the first corner again. More front. Isubio on the inside. He gets the best of Shiraiwa. And all this is letting Matsumura come on in and get a chance to get into this mix.
It's down to 1.9 seconds between Matsumura and Shiraiwa now. I think before the race is over, he's going to be involved in this fight.
5 minutes to go. Lap times at 2:24. We think we have 3. Oh, Hartley's off! Hartley's in the beach. He doesn't hit anything, but his chances of winning are done. We'll ride on board with the defending champion.
And this is exactly what we saw the last time he went wide, except this time it got away from him. You dip 2 wheels off when you go wide like that. You can see you start to lose grip, you overcorrect. He's very lucky he didn't hit the wall, but he's all the way down to 9th because of that.
All those drivers we were watching get by him. Fike is ahead of him, Matsumura, Shiraiwa, and Isubio.
Just in those few corners, by the way, Matsumura went from a 1.9 to a 1.4. He is coming fast.
Another big news from that spin is Hartley went off without causing havoc in front behind him. So Van Opstrow is still able to stay on the back of Ketch, and so often that's the case where the train is broken when somebody makes a mistake. But I think Steven Van Opstrow is still going to be able to hang in there, and Mumilidis continues to pick up another spot. Started in 5th, and now he's in 3rd.
But Mumilidis has severe damage on the front of the car. I think he's hurting for top speed. I don't think he'll be able to do anything, even if he does get a run, because he's going to stall out. There you see it right there. That's a great shot to show you how much he's dealing with.
And David Payton is back in the mix as well. That damage on Mumilidis' car could be good news for Payton. He might be able to get himself a podium position. They come across the line with about 3 minutes of racing to go. This one and one more.
Can we get an onboard of Ivan Garcia? He just pulled a brilliant move through 130R to take 2 spots. This was fantastic. Holland and Miwa were messing around, and in the process, just handed it on a golden platter to the very brave Ivan. Watch this. This is great stuff. Told you it's very marginal coming through 130R, and he says, well, while you two are losing speed, I'm going to take advantage of that. Nicely done.
That is a queen of the ball quality pass right there. Keep that one in mind. Meanwhile, up front, well, now that it's time to go racing, this is when Sonny Kenshin starts to pick up the pace a bit.
And I don't know if Van Opstal just really has enough underneath him to try to challenge like that. Mumalides, I would normally say, would be the one to challenge Kenshin, but with his damage, doesn't look likely. And Peyton, so far this race, has looked like he's been struggling.
Yep. Down into the hairpin. Good drive off from Kenshin. This is where Van Opstal really needs to keep the car going straight. He's losing a little bit of ground. The gap, 0.7 of a second.
We're going to have our eyes everywhere because Kazuki has now caught up to the back of Shiraiwa and Eusebio. So that fight for 5th is now a 3-car duel.
Look at that right now. The last car in line is Matsumura. They work their way through Spoon. Meanwhile, up front, Kenshin continues to drive away. Really nothing going on up there. Oh, there's a great shot. There's the 5 of them coming at you.
4 of them.
4 of them. There, I forgot. Hartley's not there anymore, is he?
Don't worry, Sir Arthur.
None of them are colorblind. Here's a pass back in for 5th position now. The bullet train making a move around Eusebio. And look at the run from Matsumura. He's going to have a chance for Eusebio coming into the Casio triangle. They'll be side by side going in. Is he going to force the issue to the inside? Not going to get a good drive off. He'll have to wait. White flag.
I was going to say that's not the move I would have made as we watch the leaders there. Definitely would have tried to set myself up for the front stretch where you've got a much better chance.
All right. Mumalides now thinking about making a pass on Van Opstal. Steven, you got to get going or I'm going around you. Steven doing a good job now, picking up a little bit on Kenshin. The gap, 0.5 of a second. It was 0.7 when we checked in last time.
You know, I get the feeling that Kenshin kind of knew and saw the writing on the wall that he's not going to be able to shake these guys, and he was holding a little bit in his pocket in terms of pace so he didn't burn the tires out. And now that he doesn't have to worry about it anymore, he's turned the wick up. That's where you're seeing this little bit of separation. It's not significant, but it's enough that he was probably just kind of cruising a little bit just to preserve the rubber underneath him.
Good point. You're not going to run away from anybody, and all you're doing is using up your stuff. Van Opstal now doing his best to hang on to the back of Kenshin as they work through the second Degner, go beneath the overpass down towards the hairpin. Good passing opportunity out of the hairpin into Spoon. Go, Mumalides gets a good angle out of the hairpin now. Let's see if that car has any straight line speed.
It just doesn't look like Van Opstal has anything for Kenshin here. This is exactly what he needs to do, is keep that distance. So even though they will get some draft still, not enough draft to really make an attack.
The 3 cars behind still racing the same position. Eusebio, Shiraiwa. Oh, let's go to Shiraiwa real quick. We can do it. There's a spin. He's off into the sand. We might have time to get the replay before the finish. I'm not sure. And we'll get it after. We'll get it after the finish. Coming into 130R now with just the Casio triangle in front of him is Sonny Kenshin, looking to pick up another win and get closer to that championship. Van Opstal, who's not in the championship chase, looks like he's going to get second. The Greek Streak will do everything he can to see if he can snake that second position. He'll need a good run out of the triangle here. He gets a pretty good run, gets a little bit loose. I don't think he's going to have the momentum, try as he might. The win goes to Sonny, catch me if you catch. In second place is going to go to Steven Van Opstal. Jonas Mumalides gets 3rd, and David Payton gets 4th. Let's go back to that battle now, farther back.
A swap for 5th, actually, is Eusebio. Gets passed by Matsumura at the line even.
He caught him. Matsumura and his Sevio go back to 9th position. This is a close one. This is Bertoni with Garcia trying to come up on the inside, and it looks like Bertoni gets there first, gets 10th spot. Garcia will get 11th. We go back and look at the replay that happened on the last lap with Yasura Shiraiwa. He tried to, it was going into Spoon. Matsumura tries to go to the inside. Shiraiwa is the second car in line there. Puts a nose in. And the bullet train goes off the rails. And then we'll stay with it. We'll watch the finish.
Yeah, Matsumura making this brilliant move. See, this is what I expected, honestly, from Mumulidis, but I think Van Opstel covered him off into the corner and kept him back, and he just couldn't get a good enough run. So Matsumura, you'll see him coming up through 130R here. He knows he's got the draft. He's right on board with them. And he doesn't get the pass in here. He is going to look at it. He's got the inside covered off. When he sees that, well, I thought he was going to back it up, but he runs in really deep. And then, regardless, he sets himself up perfectly, guns it off the corner, beats him to the line by less than a car length.
Well, the racing is over here in the land of the rising sun, but our broadcast is far from done. We're going to step aside for just a quick moment, but we'll return to run down the finishing order, announce this round's queen of the ball, talk to some of the drivers before we put a lock on the gate. Stay close. You're watching GSRC on IESM.
Coming for a splash. 3, 2, 1, now. All clear. Punch it. Great job. You did really well.
Streaming cyberspace into your place via the iRacing Esports Network. This is the Global SimRacing Channel's coverage of the Advanced Mazda Cup Strength of Field round number 9 from Suzuka. 15 drivers took to the grid. 13 of them finished on the lead lap. Let's give you the finishing order right now. It was Sonny Catch Me If You Catch and picking up another win and opening up a little larger point lead here as the season starts to close to the end. Stephen Van Opstel is in second. Jonas Mumulidis tries as he might, qualified in 5th, finishes in 3rd, stays in the hunt for the championship. David Payton finishes 4th, started in 4th, that's where he'll finish. Kazuki Matsumura picked up 9 positions to get the final top 5 spot. The back half of your top 10, Marcelo Eusebio, Jordi Fike, Robert Hartley was racing up front till he made a mistake. Yatsuya Shiraiwa had a spin in Spoon. He has to settle for 9th. And your top 10 is finished up with Andres Bertoni. Joe, you get the few little stragglers there.
Yeah, Ivan Garcia finishes 11th with Derek Holland in 12th. The last car on the lead lap is actually Kota Miwa. And then I think we have some DNFs. Ivan DeCunto winds up 3 laps down. Looks like he didn't see the checkered flag. He was 14th. And Rui Coimbra is 4 laps down, last on the field. Bill?
And now, before the driver interviews, it's time for the fan favorite segment, Queen of the Ball. What does it take to be Queen of the Ball? Well, that's undefinable, but we know it when we see it. We thought we saw it with Ivan Garcia, but the performance from Kazuki Matsumura stole the crown from Garcia. There's our Queen of the Ball right there, putting on a great show. Did not qualify, started in 14th, worked it all the way through the field, and made it a very entertaining race. Congratulations to Matsumura for winning the Queen of the Ball here in round number 9. With that said, it's time for interviews. Joe, who you got?
I've got our winner, Sonny Canchin, to talk to. And Sonny, it looked like at the end of the race, the last 2 or 3 laps, suddenly you were able to pull a little bit of a gap to Van Opstal. Was that due to you saving some tires, or was it something else?
Hi, Joe. Well, it was. You're looking at back a few laps. What happened to Rob? Unfortunately, after he went off track, I got a bit of pace. I think I woke up a bit, and then I just pedaled to the floor. And I kind of knew I was gaining here and there, especially the S's, and so I kind of went for it.
I assume mostly you were looking to try and prevent anybody from sniping you on the last lap with the draft being so big, going from Spoon up to the Casio Triangle. Is that correct?
Yes, that is correct. That was definitely in the back of my mind, and I was watching the mirror very closely, as well as the gap that I was putting. But I think if Rob would have been there, it would have been it would have been inevitable coming to the last lap. But unfortunate for him. And but congrats to Ian and Stephen as well. Well done.
This is obviously often called a driver's track by many different drivers around the world, but do you feel like you have any special tricks or knowledge around here, or is there anybody you've met that really seems to kind of have a leg over you on this place?
Oh, sure. A lot when I was in my rookie days, back when I was racing a lot with Tomoki and Richard and the likes of even getting to know the track a bit better, especially the technical sections with Dari, just Travis, and all of my teammates, honestly, and Marcelo as well to keep me on track, and all of those played a big role as to me being very confident on a track like this, and so I think it all paid off over time. It's like, seat time sort of thing. So happy about it.
Nothing replaces experience, I suppose. Well, congratulations on another victory here today at Suzuka, Sonny.
Thank you, Joe. And big shout out to Soup. Woohoo! I'll see you tomorrow.
All right, that's why we gave Joe the interview today, because I figure I might be talking to you tomorrow, so didn't want to burn all my questions tonight.
No worries, Soup. See ya.
Big shout out to Soup. I like it when the racers give the commentators a shout out. All right, I get to talk to Jonas Mumalides here. Oh, Jonas, I was watching the first lap coming into the chicane. I was watching it when it happened. It looked like you gave, I guess it was Van Opstal, a ton of space in front of you, and he just kept backing up, and the next thing you know, you're into his trunk.
Oh yeah, unfortunately, up in front, some kind of pileup happened. Either Sonny or Robert overcooked the chicane a little bit and had to brake, get slower. That of course triggered David, and that triggered Steven, and it was already after the braking zone of the Casio Triangle, and we were already coasting, and then suddenly the brakes come up again. I was way too close to react to that.
We thought that the damage took away any chances you had to slingshot by anybody. It didn't look like your car could go straight line by itself.
Fortunately not. I definitely did lose some straight line speed, but it must have been something like 5 kilometers an hour. It's bad. It sounds bad, but apparently it wasn't that bad. It just maybe cost me a second place.
Well, it was fun. Now we got two more MX-5 races coming up this weekend on GSRC. What's your schedule like? You gonna be able to race on any of those? We have the MWT, and then we have the Big C MX-5 Championship.
I'm really contemplating on running MWT again. I don't know about Big C's this week, because Interlagos is coming up, and maybe I wanna just keep it cool a little bit and then do Interlagos next week with the AMC.
Well, speaking from a fan's point of view, we'd sure love to see you, because it's always great to see you race on Saturday.
Thanks. Yeah.
All right. Congratulations on third place. You're still in the championship hunt. The math guys are crunching the numbers. You feel as confident as you did last week, or are you still
not
okay?
anymore? No,
Okay.
I don't. I looked at the maths and I must have done a real bad calculation error. Mike's definitely out, but Sonny is definitely still in the race. He was leading with 70 points, and he won again this week with me coming in third. It's going to be a close one. If anything happens, Sonny must make a really big mistake.
We'll follow. We have 3 rounds to go. Congratulations. Good luck the rest of the way.
Thank you
Jonas
very much.
Mobilidis, our third place finisher today. Always a good interview. And I think that's going to do it for us here on the Global Sim Racing Channel. So let me go ahead and thank everybody that makes this possible. Got to thank everybody in the Advanced Mazda Cup community, especially Jordy Fike, for supporting the broadcast. On screen now are some of the equipment and software used to stream cyberspace into your place. Additional thanks to June Lalonde, who provides our iconic music. See the screen to how to get a hold of more of her great work. The Advanced Mazda Cup returns in 1 week. That's going to be round 10, another 25-minute affair from Circuit Jose Carlos Pache. GSRC via IESN will be there to bring you all the action. Sliding across your screen now are some of the upcoming GSRC broadcasts, so check those out and mark them down on your calendar. You want to know more about us? GlobalSimRacingChannel.com, Twitter at GSR Channel, Facebook at Global Sim Racing Channel, and Instagram at GSRC_Graham. Also, if you haven't done so yet, become a YouTube subscriber by heading over to our YouTube page and hitting that big red button. Finally, on behalf of the entire crew, and that would be Amjad and Dougie, I'd like to thank all of you for watching. As we watched Sonny catch me if you can't, you pick up another win here, round number 9 from the Origami Pretzel. With that said, we're off to have fun storming the castle. So until next time, race clean, race hard, and we'll see you on the track.